Yuming Road, Wangchuan River, sighing in front of Naihe Bridge. Look at the fallen flowers flying beside the water and the moon, there are many vicissitudes of life in the world. Wandering alone, lost on the road, looking back. Clear joy together, purple strangers and red dust meet, looking at the sky, glance at the prosperity, who understands? If we say goodbye to the past, we will say goodbye forever, the mountains will bear snow, and the floating life will rest. Life is a void dream, Shawa's Whitehead, but it's fleeting. In my spare time, I occasionally read a question and answer record involving the underworld. The author has experience and understanding of the underworld. After reading it, combined with my thoughts and opinions, there are the following essays. Mr. Li Shu was a highly virtuous and respected legal celebrity at the end of the Qing dynasty and the beginning of the People's Republic of Dai. He often worked as an underworld official for many years, handling the case of the underworld in his sleep. His friends, after knowing it, in order to benefit the people of the world, he asked him about all kinds of things in the underworld. And then wrote the book Questions and Answers of the Underworld, which spread to the world. Mr. Li's knowledge and experience can be used as a reference for us to understand the legal world. He can understand all the things of the underworld, but only a part of it, a fragment. Therefore, there are objective and subjective parts in his views. If you can see it in the present, there are high priests of the fashion temple at present, who will be seen one by one in Dingzhong, and then made into a video. For example, in the underworld, the king of hell often asks the undead what to say, how to judge the case, how to punish sentient beings who have fallen into hell, etc. All teachers can know one by one with the power of meditation. Among the 6 ways, mortals are vulgar and careless and know very little about the Dharma world. Last time, a senior sister said that one of her leaders died of a heart attack. Although he ran around for his name and profit in his lifetime, when he was impermanent, he couldn't bring everything, only karma with him. The following is an excerpt from the Q record. Q. What kind of position do you hold, what department do you belong to, and how many employees do you have? Answer. He belongs to Dongyue's subordinates, but he has never seen Dongyue, and only reported the official affairs after the implementation. Yusher served as the president of the chamber, and there were 4 jurors serving ghosts, countless of them. Q. Renming has been sentenced for several years, and he has been there every day. What are the boundaries under his jurisdiction? Answer. 4 or 5 years before and after, it goes every day, and it is under the jurisdiction of the 5 provinces in North China. We know that China has Wuyue, among which the governor of Taishan, the emperor of Dongyue, is a subordinate of the king of hell, who is in charge of the life and death of at least the entire Asian region. In the past, some people said that Dongyue emperor was the incarnation of the ghost god. I said, I don't know where the statement comes from and what is the basis. But Dongyue emperor is by no means an ordinary god. He is regarded as the transformation of Buddha and Bodhisattva. A Qingming, the Japanese yin and yang master, pushed the Taishan Mansion King's festival to a high level, making this sacrifice a national festival. And he himself was promoted to an official and title, which is unprecedented in the yin and yang master. Glory. According to Japanese literature, the merits and virtues of the king of Taishan Prefecture can prolong life, make the family prosperous, and increase the blessings of official positions. According to some stories of the Republic of China, 3 months before the War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, the death list of Japanese soldiers had been sorted out by the lord of the city and submitted to the Taishan Mansion. Place. In the altar city of the esoteric king of Heluo, there are Yenluo Tianho, Kim Yushin, Dejini, Zai Mingxian, Taishan Fujian, Siming Silo, Wudao General and other family members. In various records in ancient China, the influence of the Taishan Mansion is often seen in the people. Last time, a person went to Lanrua Temple to worship Master Yanxiang and asked the master to practice the law to support the patients at home. The master offered the money in front of the Buddha and Bodhisattva in the hall, and wrote a longevity plaque. In front of the Buddha, he said that if there is an effect, you can take the money, and if it doesn't work, you can return the money to others. It is also specially changed to the content of the morning class to pray for disaster relief and longevity. After praying for blessings, at noon, the senior called the family, and the family said it didn't work. The master was very puzzled, because the master said that as long as he wrote the card in Lanrua Temple, it would be effective. Then the master thought hard about how to save his brother-in-law for a long time. The master's spiritual light flashed and said that he asked for Jizong Bodhisattva and the king of hell. He also closed his mouth. That night, he asked the elder brother to burn Yuanbao to worship Jizong Bodhisattva, the king of hell and Guangkou. By the next day, the patient was much better. When burning Yuanbao, the senior sister with observation ability was also there. She said that when the master recited the scriptures, she went to the underworld in an instant, talked to the Jizong Bodhisattva, and brought the patient up from the underworld, which was very hard. I also saw a black and white patient without a common chain sleeve, but it didn't cover it. The next day, the master recovered after a long rest. When I went to Lanro Temple, I talked to Master Yanxiang. Master was very simple and enthusiastic. I didn't see the strangeness that other seniors saw, but there is no doubt that Master Yanxiang has a great virtue of cultivation, and his testimony is naturally unfathomable. She is alone in the deep mountains. After many years of hard work, the precepts are strict, and the heart to build the gallon, he must be a repeater. Some people say, why burn yuan bao? This problem involves the operation of the legal world. In Dongyi the order of King Yanluo's offering law, the requirements for offerings are hemp oil, grain, paper money, coins and silk, incense, honey, and shana incense and other offerings. Like the Big Dipper, paper money is clearly mentioned. After all, the King of Hell commands the ghosts and gods of the underworld, and yuanbao paper money can be used in the underworld, which is necessary for the underworld officials and in who do things. Therefore, for those who learn Buddhism, whether they should burn paper money or not, in fact, this involves the issue of relief and the world's law. Leave reincarnation to seek relief, and seek the world. The benefits of blessing are different. If you want to be enlightened, you don't need to be rich or famous. In the world, in order to resolve the diseases and bad luck caused by some unjust relatives, ghosts and gods, or to pray to the world's wishes to the heavens, it often requires a lot of offerings and convenient and clever methods. When offering, you should also follow the situation. For example, what the wronged ghosts and gods need, and what the underworld ghosts and gods need, it must be clear. Instead of wishful thinking that as long as you recite the sutras, everything will be good, unless you practice it very appropriately. Mentioned above, Taishan Fujian is located in the south of the outer courtyard in the feudal collection of Tumandala. There is this then in Yanluo Mandara. The curse of the king of Taishan, Nama Samanta Budnam Citra Guptaya Svaha take it, Samantha, Biedan, Jadila, Gabadea, Svahanama. Samanta Buddhanam. The meaning is to convert to all Buddhas. Citragupta it means to serve the instructor. Q. How can ghosts and gods know all the good and evil of people and record them completely? Answer. Ghosts and gods can see things that people can't see, hear sounds that people can't hear, and all kinds of people as thoughts and behaviors. Ghosts and gods can be recorded at a glance and recorded without omission. In addition, ghosts and gods can know the good and evil of a person's behavior and thoughts by looking at the red, yellow, white and black light above people's heads. Regarding the light above the human head, whether it is Buddhism, Taoism, or Indian yoga, it has been mentioned. Some people with special eyesight can see human light, because it exists at a micro level, so it cannot be seen intuitively with the naked eye. According to the description of a person I saw before, the excerpt is as follows. When I was 12 years old, my family lived in Beiping. My father had a colleague surnamed Huang, a native of Fujian. He could see the light on everyone's head from an early age. His mother did not allow him to tell others easily, lest people say that he was demonish. He said, everyone has light on their heads, but the brightness, size and color are different. People in power are mostly red and purple, high and upright people are mostly white and blue, corrupt people are black and gray. It varies according to everyone's character. The person he has met can immediately distinguish whether the other person is a good person or a bad person, so this function has brought him great help. Mr. Huang once met the Earth Emperor of the Northeast in the heyday of Zhang Zuolin, who had a 3-foot-high red light on his head. Later, a week before Zhang Zuolin's death, he had another opportunity to visit him. When he came out, he couldn't speak for a long time, because Zhang Dashuai. The light above the head is only 5 or 6 feet high, gray and faint. Sure enough, I heard the news that he was killed soon. Q. Do criminals also have sophistry? Answer. A lot of the criminal ghost must also try his best to defend the crime he committed, and wait until he showed solid evidence before bowing his head to plead guilty. I once judged a ghost and committed many evil deeds. This person was good on the surface and secretly committed evil in his lifetime, and strongly denied the sins he had committed. I saw that his crimes piled up like a mountain, and the evidence was conclusive. He wanted to sentence him immediately. Unexpectedly, the ghost suddenly recited the Vajradhara Sutra. The left and right jurors saw a red light on his head and hurriedly asked me to stop the trial. I suspected that the left and right were accepting bribes for personal gain, and I was still ready to be sentenced, but the ghost kept chanting the scriptures. And the left and right tried to ask me to stand up. I said, as a judge, how can I stand up to criminals? Left and right said, that is not what I mean. There is a Buddha light above this ghost's head. It is blasphemous and disrespectful to interrogate him. It's better to stop the trial. At that time, I saw them standing with their hands down and looked very respectful, so I asked them how to handle this case. They said, it's better to sentence him to be reincarnated several times so that he can remember the Vajradhara Sutra. I said, isn't it cheaper for him to let him reincarnate? And if he is reincarnated several times, then the suffering retribution will be hundreds of years later, won't it delay his retribution? Left and right said, let him be reincarnated as a fetus who died as soon as he was born, and there will be several generations in a few years. Because he has the fruit of making karma, and he has the merit of chanting scriptures. Neither of them can be eliminated casually. In the future, he will be rewarded separately, and there will be no mistake. So I agreed. It's Qinglianqi. Similar stories have also been seen and heard. Some artificial evils were taken to the underworld. When they were about to put down the oil pan, they suddenly recited the great Zed spell. For a while, lotus flowers suddenly appeared in the boiling oil pan, which could not hurt him. From this, I can also know that if you concentrate on reciting sutras, it will definitely be helpful in the middle stage. Since ancient times, there has been a legend that the underworld has attached importance to the Vajradhara Sutra. Some people recited the Dzong Sutra for decades. When he arrived at the underworld, the king of hell was very respectful to him. According to its blessing, either it is judged to be born in heaven, or there is a good place. If you have enough merits, you may still have the opportunity to return to the Pure Land. Of course, although that man could recite the Vajradhara Sutra, he did too much evil in his lifetime. The underworld official could not directly detain and punish him, so he took an expedient plan to let him reincarnate. When he forgot the scriptures, he would settle the score. Q. Does the great practitioner have to go to the underworld to wait for the judgment after his death? Answer. The underworld is governed by people who are dominated by karma, or ordinary and vulgar people without great good and evil. If they are great practitioners, they will be born in the Buddha kingdom and the heavenly world immediately after death, without going through the underworld. Such people have no names in the underworld, and there is no way to judge. Or the birth is a little slow, and the people who still have to go through the underworld, the officials of the underworld generally sit up to greet them. And their souls are getting higher and higher, like walking on the ladder. When they are close to several cases in the court, they will be as high as the roof. As soon as people like this are called, they will immediately ascend to heaven, and there is no way to be detained and imprisoned. Qinglianqi, for the birth of the supremacents of yoga people who are well cultivated, when they die, the four major dissipations, the wind enters, lives, and melts into the middle vein heart wheel. When the most fundamental mind, the bright heart, naturally appears, it may directly prove the illusion of relief. However, the mortal could not recognize it. After the bright heart appeared, he directly turned into the middle body and drifted with the career. If you practice the Buddhist Dharma and recite it, you will not go through Zhongyin to be born directly in the Pure Land. Or if you recite the Great Compassion Mantra and the corresponding magic mantra without empty silk, the Buddha and Bodhisattva will come to the end of life. Sometimes I think that where a person will go after death should be perceived from his current practice. If you practice a certain method, you will be more appropriate and repeatedly gain your own respect and protection until the end of your life. If you don't commit any great work in the middle, it will basically be a good place. Q. Are there also family members, relatives and friends in the underworld? Answer. Yes, but not all of them are the original family members of Yangshi, because there are also marriages and childbirth in the underworld. About Super Degree 40 questions. Is it beneficial for monks to recite sutras and transcend ghosts to investigate the dead? Answer. Whether monks and chanting sutras are beneficial to the dead cannot be generalized. For example, if he was very good in his lifetime and ascended to heaven after his death, he did not need this merit. If he is evil in his lifetime and falls into hell after his death, it is not easy for him to enjoy this merit. The most mediocre person has no great good or evil in his lifetime. If he can recite the sutras too much, the underworld will increase the light, the sins will be reduced, and the benefits will be great. Only those who recite sutras also have a great relationship with the level of Taoism. If the person who recites the scriptures is a high priest or a filial son and a virtuous grandson, he will recite a volume of scriptures and resist the mediocre monk. Recite 10 times, or even if you are a mediocre monk's way, you also have considerable benefits if you recite it sincerely. If you don't practice the monk's way and your heart is not dedicated, then the benefits are small, or there is no benefit, but you will never overhear. However, it is best to recite the sutra within the 7 and 49 days of the deceased. After this, it is feared that the deceased has been reincarnated in another world, and his merits and virtues are recorded, and the deceased cannot be heard immediately. Qinglianqi, what Mr. Li said here is very appropriate. The effect of chanting the sutras is greatly related to the level of Taoism, gongli and cultivation. If the person who recites the sutra is a high priest or a filial son and a virtuous grandson, one volume of chanting is equivalent to 10 times that of ordinary people. If you are an ordinary person, you don't have much skill, but if you focus on reciting sincerely, you will also have great benefits. If you don't practice, don't concentrate and don't be sincere, your benefits are small, or you don't have many benefits, but you won't be guilty. This is also the reason why reciting a mantra, a classic, has a different sensing effect. Most people's ability is average. In this case, they can start from the quality of recitation, such as sincerity, focus on the heart and quantity. Sincerity is open. Some people recite for several months, or after reciting a certain number, they find that there is no sense and begin to turn back or change the method. In fact, you should often reflect on yourself and why others are effective and you are ineffective. For 8 questions, the 3 religions stand at each other and have different beliefs. Why is the teaching that the main division values? Answer: all 3 religions are important, but Buddhism is the most important. Of the 3 schools of Confucianism, Buddhism and Taoism, Mingxi attaches the most importance to Buddhism. Q. Sir, your foundation is completely different from ordinary people. I don't know if the afterlife can exempt the fruit of reincarnation. Answer: it is not so easy to surpass the 6 reincarnations. Even if it is me, I can avoid it in the next life. Once asked my colleagues to help me investigate. It is said that my next life should be born in the Nanyang area of Henan. However, things in the world have changed a lot over the past few decades, and I don't know whether the original annotations in the underworld have changed. King Lianqi, Mr. Li is still alive, but it has been decided that he will be born in Nanyang, Henan province in the next life. As Brother Lu said before, the teacher he knew said that Buffett could still be a human being in the afterlife. In the past, there was a living Buddha in Qinghai, and now he has seen the reincarnation of his entourage disciples in the next 10 generations. Mr. Li said that there are annotations on the reincarnation of the afterlife in the underworld, which is similar to a person's archive management. It can be seen that what we humans think we can control is recorded in the underworld. Of course, since it is recorded, it can be said to be dead. During the cultivation of merits and virtues, its approval should be changed accordingly. Q. Sir, why didn't you judge him later? Answer: you didn't want to do it for a long time. He begged for leave many times, but he was not allowed. Later, his colleagues taught him to recite the Vajradhara Sutra more, and did it according to the law. He accumulated more than 2,000 yuan, so he was not born again. Mr. Li did not want to be a judge for a long time. He applied to his superiors many times, but he failed. His judges and colleagues taught him to recite the Vajradhara Sutra more. After reading it more than 2,000 times, he would no longer go to the underworld to handle cases. From this, we can also know that merit and virtue can change many origins. And the number of sutras is also very important. After he recited it 2,000 times, the matter was solved. I have seen an ancient document before, and it also mentioned a person. A friend of his life was an official in the underworld and was going to recruit him to be an underworld official. The approval has been issued, and it is useless to write a letter application. Later, someone advised him to make a Buddha statue, so he made a statue to beg Buddha, and the matter was solved. Q. When ghosts are going to reincarnate, does the management agency in the underworld teach them to turn evil into good? Answer: no, only when reincarnated as a beast, don't let ghosts know. It must be the illusion of men and women in the world or houses and pavilions and other scenes, so that they are happy to enter the beast. Seeing some previous cases, some people lost consciousness in their sleep, or saw a pavilion after death. The beauty was like a cloud, and he was greedy. He ran over to hug the beauty, but he didn't expect that he was already a pig. Last time, a senior brother said that according to his master, some people's souls are lost or their divine consciousness is incomplete. If one of them is reincarnated, they will die immediately. He knows how to solve it. Four-faced Buddha Sister Kaka has just returned from Thailand. She said that at the four-faced Buddha Great Brahma King in the center of Thailand, she saw a lot of people from Guangzhou, Australia and Taiwan to return their wishes, queuing up to buy flowers, or invite people to dance. A good friend of the senior sister also went to return the wish, because he asked for a large sum of money. The phenomenon of begging for a wish in front of the spiritual statue is worth studying. According to the Guanyin Xiling collection, there was also a very spiritual statue of Guanyin Bodhisattva on a mountain in ancient India. If there is a request, it will be fulfilled. If you fast and recite the holy name in front of the Bodhisattva statue, you can often see the Bodhisattva show your wonderful body and satisfy your wishes. Yesterday, someone asked if it was okay to ask the four-faced Buddha for a wish in front of the photo on the mobile phone. I said that this is not the same as praying in Thailand. Because there is a statue of the great Brahma in Thailand, but your mobile phone doesn't have it. Just like in Buddhism, the blessing power of the Buddha and Bodhisattva is still different whether the statue of Buddha and Bodhisattva is open. There is a big difference between having a true God and not having a true God. Last time I went to Chiang Mai for a pilgrimage, in the Lucia temple, there was a female resident who drank poison and died ghost. She suddenly fainted when she worshipped Master Lu. After everyone helped her out, she kept crying. The possession on her body said through her mouth, Master Lucci was driving him away. Someone asked again, if you have to fulfill your wish when you go to pray. I said that this is not necessarily true. There is no absolute in everything, because whether you can fulfill your wish itself requires blessings. If you ask for the richest man, or a king, or a bad motive, he will carefully observe the origin. But so many people return their wishes, and their effective work can be seen. According to the Buddha said that the Son of Heaven is the sutra of the earth. It is contained in, at that time, his wife, Roman, with white auspicious plants and flowers. Offering to the Buddha, he made a gift and made a wish. Take my goodness as the Lord of the Brahma world. Strict on all sides and countless sentient beings wish for perfection. In the past, the great Brahma king obtained today's good fruit because he made a wish for the Buddha with auspicious flowers. He was the Lord of the Brahma world, that is, the Lord of the heavens in the color world. His original wish was to be strict in all aspects and make a perfect wish with countless sentient beings. That is to give all sentient beings what they want, which is his original wish, that is, to satisfy the wishes of countless sentient beings for himself. Therefore, when I saw the four-faced Buddha in Thailand today, when countless people from all over the world flocked there to make a wish, I couldn't help but think of the revelation of the Buddhist scriptures in the Middle Ages. Of course, you must return your wish after you fulfill it. The power of the guardian of the Dharma and the righteous gods in the world is very important in terms of the Dharma in the world. There is a record in Taiping Guangji that an ancient general was imprisoned somewhere. He kept praying to the local mountain god, asking the mountain god to help him relieve his trouble, and he would definitely repay the favor in the future. Unexpectedly, his prayer came true and he was released home. Soon, he set up a big offering at home and invited the distant mountain god. Be equal at that time, a man was on the side of the road and saw the sound of horses' hooves. A man who looked like a general led 3,000 iron horsemen to the general's house. Receive confession. The imprisoned general, because he has established a deep friendship with the mountain god, often gets the help of the mountain god when something happens. Induction record what you want come to. From June 25th, I have been reciting the Heart Sutra, the great magician goddess as heart spell, the great auspicious heavenly goddess as heart spell to seek marriage. Although I have only read it for a few days. But some ideas come true when you think about them. The day before yesterday, I suddenly wanted to eat at noon. Because I work at school, I always eat the teacher's meal in the canteen at noon. I know that the teacher's meal will definitely not be served with this dish, and I have never had it before. It suddenly rained heavily before dinner time. I asked a colleague to bring the meal back to the office for me to eat. As a result, I was stunned as soon as I opened the lunchbox. There was just what I wanted to eat in it. Today, when I went out to run a business, I suddenly remembered that 2 months ago, a female colleague of mine said that her menstrual leave was not normal. She asked me to inquire about a familiar specialist and traditional Chinese medicine doctor to treat her. I happened to pass by a friend's blind massage shop, and this friend knows an old traditional Chinese medicine doctor in this field. I thought, why don't you go in and ask the address of the traditional Chinese medicine doctor? However, on second thought, this was 2 months ago. During this period, my female colleague didn't mention it. Maybe she has found a suitable traditional Chinese medicine doctor, so she is better not to inquire. Then, I went home. As a result, not long after I came back, the female colleague came to me on QQ and said that she had been seeing Western medicine recently, which was useless. She dragged me to help her inquire about traditional Chinese medicine. Although there is nothing special about the above two things, it really proves that as long as you recite the spell with your heart, everything you want will come true. And my birthday is not on a special day. Through these two things, I became more determined to hold the spell with my heart. Happy fate which brings lovers together, brother, the Bodhisattva, the goddess of the trick, came true very quickly. At the beginning of the year, I asked for marriage and did my homework, especially when I did my homework and made incense offerings. According to the senior's announcement, someone took the initiative to introduce several to me. It just so happened that I had a lot of peach blossoms this year, so I just wanted to see what kind of people they were. 2 of them were not suitable. Later, when I was watching the repair, I suddenly felt that I was doing something wrong. In case I felt that it was okay, I didn't want to. This was harmful to others. After doing his homework and making incense offerings, he told Jyutianu Bodhisattva to remove rotten peach blossoms, get a righteous peach blossom and a righteous marriage, meet a virtuous, rich and dignified partner, and form a righteous and believe in a Buddha-oriented family, offering from the top to the bottom, and the benefits are affectionate. After that, almost no one introduced it to me. Anyway, I said my own requirements, do a good job of offerings and giving, doing the established homework, improving my own blessings, and waiting for the Bodhisattva to arrange it for me. A few days ago, I read my brother's article and understood that the blessing was equal before we could meet. It seems that I did the right thing. I'll wait for the right marriage arranged by the Bodhisattva. Thank you, brother. May you be auspicious. Rent a house. In fact, there is something that should have been shared with my senior brother. Sorry. Later, it was postponed as soon as the volunteers participated in the activity. I think that my factory has been idle for 2 or 3 years due to the poor economic situation in recent years, and the location is not very convenient. It has been basically idle for 2 or 3 years. In the meantime, my sister's family is using it, and a little usage fee is also given. However, I don't need to build my own factory this year. For this reason, when I made an offering on the 15th of last month, I begged the Buddha and Bodhisattva to rent out the factory as soon as possible. On that day, in the absence of wind, the last 2 paper drawings were sucked up by the wind and rushed to a height of 3 floors. The next day, the villagers of a neighboring village came to see the house, and the transaction was officially closed on June 1st. Thank you very much. From entering my brother's blog on March 28th to now, I have gained a lot, including the growth of my own soul and the growth of my children. Although I have previous accumulation, I obviously feel the speed of this blessing. I am grateful to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the heavenly Bodhisattvas. Thank you, Brother Qing, Brother Miaoxin. May the senior brother promote the method of Tianbu more smoothly and auspicious. May more people benefit from the world to the world, make a good wish for perfection, and plant the seeds of Bodhi to become a Buddha. Kinglianke, generally, when there is a wind, etc. In addition to natural phenomena, it is often used by the gods. Therefore, she rented it out immediately the next day, which was also effective. Change brother, I'm April. It has been more than a month since I participated in the 3-year appointment on the 28th. I am facing great difficulties. My husband was seriously ill last year, and my daughter's grades were very good and excellent. But last year's grades began to decline and she didn't go to school. Later, the problem had developed to a very serious problem, and she had no choice but to go to the hospital for examination and said it was moderate depression. I added you on the recommendation of a senior brother. At that time, I also asked Brother Miaoxin to see what the reason was. Although I didn't see it by fate, I have been paying attention to my brother's article from that time and benefited a lot. First of all, I am very grateful and agree with my brother's point of view. From the beginning, there were still some changes in the repair according to the order you gave. Later, I also cooperated with the fate map of the god of burning the prison and the auspicious goddess. Haven't given feedback on these because I want to wait a little longer. I don't want this to be a coincidence. But everything has been solved successfully for more than a month. I decided to share it today in the hope that more people will benefit. I hope more people can live a better life. The most obvious thing after starting to repair according to the senior brother's sharing is that the economic pressure is less. I am a civil servant and also opened a small shop. It's hard to do business now, but my business is really good. Thank you for your almsgiving. My daughter is getting better day by day now, and my husband's work is also relatively smooth. Although there is still some pressure now, as long as you stick to it like this, I believe that everything will be fine. I also know that we should not be greedy for the blessings of the world, but when we have families and children, we should at least do our best for our families. Living in this world still requires blessings from the world. When my life is in a mess, I felt that it was impossible to abandon my family to pursue the world. At my most difficult time, my master told me that taking good care of my children and husband was my homework. Felt that my brother's views were the same. Yes, Buddhism still needs to be verified through practical practice. The homework assigned to me by my master is the underground scripture 1,000 times, so I feel very good about the practice recommended by my brother. And I have a special feeling for the great auspicious goddess. Thank you, brother. I am really much better in all aspects now. It is the blessing of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the blessing of the great auspicious goddess of the earth god, just like the bright light illuminates my future days. Now let me talk about my thoughts after practice. I think each of the 84,000 methods is very special. In the process of practice, if you find a suitable method for yourself, you should practice it loyally and firmly. Don't waver, so that you will definitely achieve it. In addition, don't blindly pursue induction. You just need to practice honestly and leave everything to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to arrange. You just need to work hard and don't ask about the future. I don't know if what I said is appropriate. If there is anything wrong, I sincerely repent. I hope that all the seniors who participated in the 3-year appointment can achieve what they want. No matter in the world, there will be achievements. I hope that all sentient beings with feelings will be happy from suffering and witness Bodhi as soon as possible. Once again, I am grateful for my brother's almsgiving. May my brother be auspicious. Offering Bodhisattva let us talk about a little sense of reciting the 10-round mantra of Dizang, every time after reciting it more than 49 times. A landlord in Shanghai would call me more than 10 years ago. Haha, if he didn't recite it, he wouldn't call me. It's so interesting. I put gold on the Jizang Bodhisattva that I offer to my family. I have a way to practice a good dharma. First of all, please go back to the Bodhisattva statue, put gold on the holy elephant, and then copy the Bodhisattva sutra. After copying and reciting, the effect will be doubled. The early stage may be slower and seem to be very clumsy. However, I think that this foundation is deep and correspondingly fast, and there may be no need to recite a lot of spells immediately. Because copying scriptures into the heart, pasting gold as an offering, and the image of the Bodhisattva enters the heart. Kinglianke, very casual. Your method is good. Sticking gold is indeed a kind of offering, and it is also a very auspicious fate. For example, some people who don't practice well can use this method to add more support. For example, in the Universal sect, after the World Venerable revealed to the Infinite Bodhisattva the unique merit of Nyan Guanyin, the Infinite Bodhisattva untied the treasures on the neck and offered the Guanyin Bodhisattva. I value this detail very much. Endless Bodhisattva offers to Guanyin Bodhisattva on behalf of the public, which is a kind of origin for obtaining immeasurable merits. First, it can represent that the law is not passed down lightly, and the law is precious. The second is to accumulate welfare and wisdom for the public and the 8 departments of Tianlong. The third is to offer and pay tribute to Guanyin Bodhisattva in fate, and obtain the blessing and merit of Guanyin Bodhisattva. Of course, Guanyin Bodhisattva does not need these substances, but for the sake of the auspiciousness of fate, she still accepts it and turns to the teacher and the pagoda. Therefore, when you can practice a certain method, you can also learn from that senior brother, stick gold, shape the original image, make offerings on the statue, etc.